Hey guys, I'm Serge,
And I'm Megan.
and today we want to talk about changing careers. This is something that a lot of people are thinking about. In fact, on Quora, that was probably the number one sought out topic of careers, and people are trying to find places where they're happy. And this is something that Meg and I have been dealing with for about a couple of years now in our own
Yeah.
ways, right? So, a little bit background on Meg.
Sure. I practiced law at a big firm in Tampa for about 5 years and worked with amazing people. It was a really wonderful experience, and I had the opportunity to learn a lot and work for amazing attorneys. But ultimately, I kept finding myself wanting to open up a business, and this entrepreneurial spirit kind of recognizing that it was bottled up and trying to get out. So, while I was enjoying some aspects of the practice, I ultimately knew it wasn't the full career path for me. And so when Serge and I met, we ultimately decided to kind of merge our entrepreneurial spirits and go into business together. So we did that. We started a company and then have been on that path for, operating the business for over a year. And now here we are kind of ready to make yet another change.
Yeah, and this whole idea of trying different things, putting on different shoes, wearing different hats to really understand what works for us. Because I think oftentimes people get out of college, they studied something, and now they need to do that for the next 30, 40 years before they retire.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't believe that. We don't abide
Yeah.
by those systems.
I guess we're true millennials in that
Yeah,
way.
our parents are entrepreneurs, so we've always watched them try different things and succeed at them. So we decided to do the same thing. However, with it, there's always a challenge of change, challenge of getting out of your comfort zone. So for Meg, it was difficult to get out of her comfort zone and quit practicing law at the firm and go ahead and start a startup.
Yeah.
For me, I was at the time consulting for a company, and it was pretty easy. It's a paycheck. You don't have to think about the overhead. Although I am an entrepreneur. I've opened up a couple of restaurants in the past, and we'll talk about it some other time. But the big shakeup was that we were stepping out of our cushy jobs and
Right.
creating a business. We went down the path of this business for a year. We really gave it all we could, and at the end of a year, almost a little bit more than a year, we can say, right?
Just barely, yeah.
We had to take a step back and analyze our situation, where we are and where we're going. And that was a very important exercise because we had to ask important questions of ourselves. Are we happy with what we're doing? Are we going to be happy once we reach our destination, right? It's not all about that growing your company, becoming big, and being financially successful. It's also about, well, what kind of a job are you actually performing? What is
Right.
your day in and day out looking like?
Yeah, so if you're looking at, 2, 3, 5, 10 years before you're really going to see a reward, what are those next few years going to look like? And that is the tough question because so many people will tell you, well, you have to like slug it out, and just do the grunt work, do what you don't want to do, and for that end prize. And we don't really ascribe to that thought process, at least not completely. We understand the value of hard work and putting ourselves into a project, but we did on this one look at what is our day-to-day like now, and to be in the position we want to be in 2 years from now. Is that day-to-day going to change for the better, for the worse? What is it going to look like? And if it doesn't fit what you want, then maybe it's not the right path. We both have parents who are amazing mentors to us, and I certainly got advice from my dad that was along the lines of, hey, if you're going down a path and it's not the path you feel in your heart you should be going down, it's okay to walk away. It's really hard. It's very hard to do, but it may very well be the right move, and you don't necessarily want to just sacrifice for years and then kind of for what, ultimately is the big question.
And so when we decided to, I guess, pull the plug on this business, it was tough. It felt almost like a breakup. Like our hearts were broken. The next day it was difficult to get going, and the following day was difficult to get going, and and we've identified that in this process you have a little bit of an identity crisis because you've identified yourself with this business that you've been working on, and now all of a sudden you no longer have it. So now, kind of like, who are you?
Yeah,
right?
what are you all about? You were about the business, and now you don't have the business, so
What's going to happen
Yeah.
there? So very, very challenging. And we're talking about this because a lot of people go through these types of emotions, or maybe some people out there are avoiding tackling their problems in a way where they're being analytical and taking a step back to assess the situation to make sure that they're not wasting their life pursuing some arbitrary dream, right? Like I get to success, right? What's success? A car, a house,
Yeah.
a boat. All right, well, okay, what does that mean? Okay, you could be on a boat, maybe all by yourself, and you don't have any real friends or family around you because
Right.
you've neglected all of them because you've been so busy building this business
yeah.
and in the
And
process.
yeah, and in something that my aunt shared with us that we've really kind of grasped onto is this idea of all of these things we think we want, that we really want them for an emotional quality that attends them. And so if you want to buy the new car, well, what is the car really giving you? It's a feeling of freedom, of success, of happiness. And so you can get those same feelings doing lots of different things, owning lots of different things. And so you don't have to go down a path, and make yourself miserable to get the same feeling you can get going down a different path doing something different. So we kind of really bought into that and said, okay, we know how we want to feel at the end of each day, at the end of each year, about ourselves and about the things we're working on. And we can go down lots of different paths. So then once you realize that, it kind of lifts that scary veil that, and you're able to just kind of see things as they are and say, okay, great, we can move on to the next thing. The business, yeah, it's sad and it's scary to move on from it, but ultimately we know where we're headed based on principles.
Yeah, on the way we want to feel. So, yeah, we want certain flexibility in the schedule. We want to be happy. We want to feel the ease. We want to spend more time with friends and family and so forth. So, what kind of a business, what kind of a work environment do we see ourselves being in? And after lots of consideration, we've decided it is going to be real estate.
Right.
We're going to get out there and get a real estate license and dive into that industry, understand it to our fullest capacity, and become experts at it and have fun with it. So, and we're going to be talking a lot more about the real estate industry and kind of like how to make money in it, how to be successful, so forth and so on.
Right.
But this episode, this first one, we're starting off by talking kind of this transition and having the guts to move on, to go into the new chapters without holding on to something that's arbitrary and in the process of kind of wasting your life away, not pursuing the right dreams.
Yeah, and real estate's something that we've been both interested in for a long time. So as far as choosing the right path, this one was fairly easy. It's been kind of the one that's been tapping you on the shoulder here and there every so often, saying, "Hey, get your license. Hey, talk to someone about getting an investment property. Go look at investment properties." I mean, our second date, that's what we were doing. We were driving around looking at potential properties because, it's just, so here and there it keeps popping up, and ultimately we're like, okay, so now we've got this month or so to figure out our next path, and let's be really, really open to what different careers maybe we might want to go in. But this is the one that we're kind of settling on.
Yeah, the real estate industry is calling our names.
Yeah.
So keep up with us. We're going to be providing a lot of information, especially in regards to the real estate industry, how it is out there, what can one do to get in and be successful. Because, we're starting from scratch. So we don't have anything to go off of. So we're just going to go out there and carve up our own little sliver of pie? Yeah. Slice of pie.
Yeah.
Well, we'll end that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wish us luck on the test because we're taking it on Thursday.